Hello, welcome back to Chris's Moto Life, or should I say Chris's Moto Confessional, because I've got a confession to make on this one. I kind of did something that was not the smartest move ever of my motoring career. I bought a Jaguar. This is a 1988 XJ6. This version is called an XJ40. It ran from, I think, like 86 to 94, and what I didn't know, I just read on Wikipedia, whatever it is, that they said that the Series 3 XJ6 was being sold at the same time as this one. So it's kind of interesting that they had two different cars on the market at the same time. What I liked about this one is, hey, I bought this from a buddy of mine. He's moving, he just was not into the project anymore. So I figured that I would just take the car, maybe put some work into it. And to be honest with you, I'm really just kind of curious as to whether or not I could put a car back together again. So, why don't we take a look at it? This is white with the navy leather interior. Some things I need to take care of. You'll see that classy door lock handle. I need to take care of that. It's got the automatic seat belts, which I'm sure that everybody hates in the world. But the leather doesn't look too bad. I went over it with saddle soap, and apparently, you know, the story that I was told was that it was owned by a little old lady who was a smoker. I'm sure that we've all heard that before. There were cigarettes all over the interior. I mean, there were cigarettes, there were matches. It took me literally 2 hours just to vacuum it to get it to this level of cleanliness. And, oh, here's another thing. The back doors don't work unless you open them from the inside. So it looks like I'll be taking some rear door panels apart on this. But I gotta tell you, other than these niggling little things, the car's really fun to drive. Oh, when I got it, the one exhaust pipe was off of it, so I had to bolt this back on. The body was so bad that it was just covered in dirt, and it literally took me. I'm still doing it. It's probably gonna take me probably about 6 or 7 good detail sessions to get this back to where I can at least live with it. The paint's a little checked in places. It's a 30-year-old car. I'm not really going to complain. Here's a nice surprise that I was met with. When I went to look at the trunk, there's no carpeting in it. There should be carpeting here, down at the bottom, on either side. He said that it had a leak and that it got all moldy, so he tore it out and threw it away. So if anybody knows where I can get some new, fresh, not new, if I can get some used Jaguar carpeting, please let me know if you know of a good breaker that would specialize in stuff such as this. Why don't we take a look at the engine and we can talk about what's going on there. We've got the old traditional hood. And believe it or not, everything looks pretty clean under here. Oh, and it was sold to me as a 36,000 mile car, but I'm not going to sell it to somebody like that. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to swear by it that it is 36,000 miles. You don't know. I mean, with these old cars, you have no idea as to what's going on with them. So I'm going to sell it on condition, on cleanliness. I'm probably going to end up selling this because I don't know if I mean, I've got my BMW. The BMW, as opposed to a British car, is like night and day. The BMW feels like it's carved out of a single block of steel. It never breaks. It just goes and goes and goes. The car will whip up to 130, I've been told, no problem whatsoever. And this thing, I mean, look, this is a 3.6 engine in this version, and if it puts out 170, 180 horsepower, I'd be shocked. Here's a funny thing about this model of Jaguar. It was voted safest car in Britain back in 1988, which made me laugh. So, you know, I think, oh, what's wrong with it? Well, I had to buy a battery, first off, and our local Pep Boys seems to think that it takes a big truck battery. So I had to go like 3 times with 3 different batteries. So finally I went to our local Napa store. Napa, you rock. They had the battery. The problem, the only real issue going on right now in the engine compartment area is that the power steering pump leaks. So what I'm doing is I'm going to run up to a place called Dallas, Pennsylvania, to a shop. My friend John Valentine, who was my mentor originally, I've known him for like 30, 40 years now. He is just a great mechanic, and we're just going to take a look at the bottom of the engine and see where any of the leaks are coming from. Because to be honest with you, on old cars like this, I don't think it's smart to take them to your regular shop where you take them. Because I had taken my sister's Range Rover to a shop, the old Range Rover, and believe it or not, it had a bad serpentine belt tensioner, and the shop couldn't even find something as simple as that. Because I think people are predisposed to, yes, the Jaguars had their problem, but I think a lot of these mechanics are just so negative towards them that when one comes in the door, they just don't want anything to do with it. So, I think we're gonna have a little bit of fun with this one. I got the paint corrected on everything except the roof. The roof looks like it's just a little bit, it's got this like dirty haze over it. So I'm just gonna continue to compound it. And I think once we get that done, this is gonna be a nice car, and it's gonna make somebody very happy to be driving this. So really, I'm kind of feel funny about buying a Jaguar, but at the same time, I'm really curious as to whether or not I could bring a car like this back to life, because I could show you for well under $5,000 that you can be driving something like this. I mean, I'll be into this for well under $5,000, like completed. Let's just see what we can do with it. I mean, if I go up to $5,000, I'm not gonna make any money. I'm just gonna have to let it go for that price. Oh, I put 4 new tires on it so far. The Black Lion brand, 4 tires for $200. Also, I did front pads and rotors, so the brakes are safe. I do that to every car. If you buy a used car, just consider it fact that it's going to need tires and brakes. I guarantee you. I'm lucky that it doesn't need shocks, although I do feel a knock in the back. It might be a bad shock mount. I'm gonna have to check that out as well when we have it up on the lift. So we've got a few things to do. I think we'll check in with this car regularly like we did with the Lotus. I mean, the Lotus was a total win. This is gonna be kind of just a whim. We had a win with the Lotus. This is just being done on a whim. I always thought these were kind of cool cars. I like the way that they look. And why don't we see how well it could go? So, I'm gonna end with that thought, and as I always end, I want you to stay positive, and I want you to have the greatest week coming up that you've ever had. Thanks so much for watching, guys.